In preparations for this big trip west, we've been doing a lot of work on Andy's Ram, and now it's time to do some work on the Defiant. Today, we're going to be replacing that. We're going to be putting on a new tent that I'm going to break in on the trip. I'm out here getting ready to go to work. Andy's out here to help. Victor's down there to supervise. Here's the tent. So we're going to break it out and start the install. All right, we got it open. All your parts for it are going to be inside the tent. Let's take stock real quick. Got everything laid out here. Let's take a look at what's inside the tent. All right, we got the LED lighting, ladder guide, which is inside the ladder, the warranty card information. This is all of the hardware. More hardware. This is going to be your metal tensioner rods for the rainfly, and the crossbars for it. Tent comes with a good instruction manual, which is in English, which I am a big fan of. Okay, we've been messing around with it, getting everything set up for long enough, so it's time to make this be on there. Andy is torquing away. We're almost done mounting the tent. It has been slow going. Andy, what do you think about it?
I think you need to get a roof rack with just a little bit more clearance.
The tent does have a couple of features that I'm not going to be using. For sake of completeness, I'm going to show you what they are and explain what they do. The first thing is going to be these brackets and these crossbars. And these are for the cargo rack that goes on top of the tent. I don't put anything on top of the tent, so I'm not going to be using them. And the next thing is going to be the LED lighting. It does come with a few strips of LED lights to go on the underside of the tent once it's open, and to go in the tent once you're inside of it. I have my own lighting solutions for outdoors in the campsite and my own lighting solution for inside the tent. So I'm also not going to be using that, but it is a fantastic feature that the tent comes with it. Well, the tent is mounted. There is one thing I kind of don't like about it so far. I'm going to point it out. The mounting plates they have there, you can see they bend a little bit. They're not very thick. That gives me a little bit of concern. It can be easily fixed with thicker metal though, but in all fairness, this isn't the day of the install. I've been riding around with it on the roof of the Defiant for about 3 weeks, a month almost. So yeah, it's been steady so far. It's not rattling. It hasn't come loose. It would just give me better peace of mind if they made the metal a little bit thicker on those plates so that they didn't bend when you tighten down on them. But it's installed. Let's put it to the test. Let's face it, nobody wants to watch a rooftop tent review that's shot in a driveway. So that's why we're out in the beautiful George Washington National Forest in Virginia. And let's take a look at this tent and dive in. I'm out here along the Piney River, along a trail called Big Piney. Been to it several times, camped out here a few times. Pretty sure I have a video or two from here. This is the perfect place to crack open the Sirius 1 Plus tent from Naturnest and take a look at it. So let's do that right now. One thing I have to point out about the tent is that the tent is not brand new with me. It's actually been mounted on the Defiant for probably 2 months at least. This tent has already gone to the Rimrocker Trail in Utah with us. It was my primary tent, my only tent for that trip. So it's survived the Alpine Loop, the Rimrocker Trail, and then the Colorado Flat Tops. So it's already been on the Defiant for about 2 months. It's already been field tested. It was my tent while I was out there. I slept in it in the Utah desert. So this isn't an out-of-the-box review of the tent. It's actually a having already used it in the field a little bit and broken it in type of review. I already covered some of the basics back in the driveway, but now that we're out here in the wild, let's go ahead, open it up, and take a look at what's inside. As with most clamshell style tents, you start the process out with a couple of buckles on the side, and the shocks are pretty much going to do the rest. This is one of the big differences between this and a wedge style tent like my other tent, is you have to position the ladder correctly in order to flatten this out. The literature from Naturnest says, I believe it says like a 70 degree angle, 75 degree angle. Actually, I think it's on the ladder. Let me go look. Yep, there it is right there. It says put the ladder at a 75 degree angle. Almost. Look good to you? Looks good to me. I don't think it's exact, but it's pretty close. It's going to flatten out when I get in it. My body weight compresses it down. And, well, there's plenty of body weight for that. Before we crawl up in there, it does have two pretty good sized shoe bags. They slide along right there, so you can move them a little bit. Put them on the sides of the ladder if you want. There's enough room on the slider for that. We'll probably be using them because I'm wearing boots right now, and the ground's kind of wet. I don't know if I'm tracking all that mud up in the tent. Well, I'm up inside, but before I get too cozy, let's finish setting it up. First things first, you gotta set up this rain fly. That's what these metal rods are for. Insert, like, y'all, and into the little loops on there. That was kind of a two-handed job, so unfortunately I didn't film that part. And we still have the side ones, so let's get busy on that. And got the other two done. Again, two-handed job. So now I have my little canopy / rain flies deployed, and the tent is set up. One thing I like about the canopy / rain fly is it's clear plastic. So even if it is lightly raining or whatever, and I just want to sit here on the edge of the tent, I can still look around. I still have a view. I don't have a completely opaque canvas blocking everything out where I can only see out there. Once the tent's fully set up and you're inside, it is pretty spacious. I'm 6'2", so I can sit straight up. I'm not hunched over right now. I'm sitting straight up. So there's enough room in here for me to do that. The material is blacked out, so it keeps it dark in here. Of course, at the front is the shell. One thing I will tell you about the shell is if you can, when you set up your campsite, don't face that part of the tent east unless you like being cooked first thing in the morning. Because when the sun comes up and hits the outside of it, it does radiate a good amount of heat inward. Found that out the hard way in Utah. All of the zippers seem to be quality and well made. I haven't had any problems with them getting caught in the material or anything like that, which sometimes things that are done with cheap zippers, you have that problem, or sometimes you have a problem with the zipper hopping off of the track. Haven't had any issues like that. One thing I'm going to point out real quick though is inside your panels, they're inside of the screen, which is good, which makes, you know, zipping them up and opening them up easy. You don't have to open the outside, except on the entrance. On the entrance, it's here. So you have to unfurl that, secure it, and then close the screen. I don't know about you, but that seems kind of like going around my elbow to get to my butthole. I don't like that feature, but it's not a huge deal, but you do have to unzip it, so if there's a lot of bugs outside and things like that, there's a potential for you to let insects in. I'm going to go ahead and undo this thing so you can get an idea how dark this thing is with its blackout fabric. You can tell I'm already sweating a little bit. It's about 87, 88 degrees outside. It's June, late June in Virginia, and we've been in the middle of a really bad heat wave. So I'm not going to keep this thing blacked out inside for long because it's going to turn into an oven really quick. God. Whew, it's already heating up in here. Okay, so it's pretty dark in here. It's about, I don't know, what is it, about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, I mean, it's sunny outside too. So the ambient light you're seeing off of me right now is actually being projected by the screen on my camera, not coming in through the tent. I'm going to turn it around, the gimbal, and look around inside the tent so you can get an idea. There's no light leakage through the zippers, which is huge. My other tent, even though it's not blacked out, with it zipped up, it does leak light through the zippers. Now, the flap at the front doesn't zip at the bottom, so pushing it, it's going to let light in, and there is a couple of small spots where light bleeds in through joints. But overall, it is very dark in here. And if it wasn't 1,000,000 degrees outside, it would be really nice to have it blacked out in here if you wanted to sleep during the day. Whew. Oh my God. It was so hot in here with all those panels closed. Feels so much better now. So one thing about Will, he is not an early riser. I watch a lot of videos of other channels, and some of you guys are hopping out of your tents at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, firing breakfast up, making coffee. I'm like 10 o'clock at the earliest when I camp. So having the ability to black the tent out, that's pretty huge for me. Obviously, just not on a hot day, because I'm still dying. You can see the windows are ample. You have a good view out of the tent. You can see everything around you to your left, in front of you, and to your right. Obviously, you can't see through that. But, yeah. Oh, and another thing. You can see up top. It has a panel that unzips up top, so you can sit in here and gaze upon the stars if you want to. This panel is also good on a hot day like today for unzipping to let the heat radiate out of the tent. So we might leave that open. It's actually a lot better. I should have thought of that earlier on. It's making it a lot cooler in here. So room-wise in here, the tent is quite spacious. I'm 6'2", not a little guy. There's plenty of room for me. You know, most of the materials for tents like this say that you can fit 2 adults and a small child in here. I have my doubts unless they're very small adults and very small children, but I could sleep in here with another person. You know, you could squeeze 2 people in here. It wouldn't be the most comfortable sleep, but you could do it. But for me, it's more than adequate. Here's the mattress pad, and you can see there's an anti-condensation mat underneath it. The mattress is pretty comfortable. It's markedly more comfortable than my other tent. When I first took the tent out and opened it up in my driveway before we even put it on the roof rack, one of the things I mentioned was that it comes with LED lighting to put up in here to light the tent, and that I was not going to use that lighting because I go a different route to light my tent. And I'm not, but I do want to reiterate that they do include fairly nice LED strips, not only to light inside the tent, they can Velcro up right there, they can go underneath the outside of the tent to light up the outside if you like to use the tent as like an awning or a canopy to sit under. So that is nice. It's awesome that they include it. It's a useful feature. It's just not something that I'm going to use, so I'm not going to go through the process of setting it up and going over it just to remove it all and then put it back in a box. But you know, that's individual preference. I go a different route, but you will need some sort of power for the lights, obviously, like a power station. That's generally what they're intended to run off of. Again, super awesome feature. I'm glad they include it. I'm glad they include that option to do that. I'm just not going that route. Going over the more minor details, delving into the minutia of the tent. It is not completely sealed because there is a joint there. You can see outside. However, they do include a flap that you tuck under the mattress, and that covers it up. So that eliminates the light leakage that I showed you when I had the tent closed up. I probably should have touched on these flaps when I did that, but it didn't dawn on me, and it is too damn hot to seal this thing up and do it again. So just know, with the flaps in place, there's like 99.9% light blockage coming in this tent. It gets super, super dark, and I love that. You know what? I think I've earned a union break. I think I'm gonna lay down for a few minutes. All right, break time's over. So before we shift this outside, a couple of last things to go over on the inside. The shocks, sturdy. You could see when I opened the tent a few minutes ago, it opened on its own. I didn't have to push the thing up. It does have some goodie bags in here for you to keep your stuff in when you're inside the tent, which, you know, your wallet can go in there, cell phone if you want to, stuff like that. Questions people always ask about rooftop tents: waterproofing, condensation. Well, I haven't been in this thing during the rain, so I can't tell you how the waterproofing is. What I can tell you is all of the stitch points, all of the joints in the fabric are laminated, which is pretty much industry standard for waterproofing a tent. My other tent, it seems like half the time I go camping in that thing, it rains. And I've never had a problem in that tent with leakage, and this is not to talk about that tent, but that tent is built in a similar fashion. So I would assume that this one is also not going to have any leakage problems. Next thing is condensation. Well, I haven't had any condensation problems in this, but I've also only camped in the desert. So the relative humidity out there was probably in the teens instead of in the 90s like it is here. So it probably wasn't the best environment to test the tent out as far as condensation goes, but I have not had a condensation problem in this tent. The other tent, I had a condensation issue with it one night, and I was camping literally in the middle of fog. So the humidity was at pretty much 100%, and the temperature outside at the time was right at the dew point. So everything was coated in condensation, and the interior of my tent at the top did get a little bit of condensation. Again, not to talk about my other tent, but that was really only my experience with having a condensation issue. And I would imagine outside of those types of conditions, I would get a similar result out of this tent. So I would imagine fog, 100% humidity at the dew point. It might have a condensation problem, but I believe that any tent would probably have a condensation problem at that point. But I'm merely speculating because this tent has not been in those conditions. Again, I've only camped in the desert in this thing, and I did not have any sort of moisture issue with it. My impression being in it, this is not my first rooftop tent. This is not my first experience with rooftop tents. My best friend, Andy, has a much higher dollar tent, and the construction between this tent and that tent are eerily similar. They're very, very close in how they're constructed and their quality. So I don't foresee any issues there. And of course, I have friends that have other tents from other companies too, and I'm familiar with how they've been made. I've been in them, checked them out. And as far as comparing this to other tents, it's a well-made tent. Thankfully, I have a few nights in it, so I'm not just reviewing this out of the box. I've actually slept in it. I've traveled some fairly harsh conditions, not the worst, not the most harsh by any means, but fairly harsh, and the tent did very well. My impression of it so far is that it's a well-made tent, and I'm happy with it. So on that note, I'm going to hop down and we'll take a walk around the exterior, take a look at it. So taking a look at it from down here, I think it's a pretty good looking tent. I've seen some tents that were kind of fugly, but most of them aren't. And this one certainly isn't fugly. It's a good looking tent. Okay, Here's a super nitpicky thing. The Naturnest logo is not perfectly centered on the top. It's actually offset to the side a little bit, both on the back and on the front. Very minor little nitpicky issue. Can't really see it because the tent's open. But I don't know why that bothers me a little bit. Maybe it's a little touch of the OCD. I don't know. I just wish that the logo was centered. It actually caused us a couple of seconds of confusion when we were putting the tent on and we were centering it on the roof rack. We're like, wait a minute, it's centered. Oh, the sticker is not centered. And then we figured it out. Taking a look under the tent is a solid metal construction. A couple pads there so it doesn't hurt anything when it's closed up. The hinges are solid. It's well made. The ladder says it has a 150 kilogram capacity. WTF is a kilogram. This is America. So that's 300-ish pounds. So most people should be able to get up and down the ladder no problem. Should not damage it. I've been up and down the thing many times. Had no problem. So it's sturdy. Well, I think at this point, we're going to break her down and button her up. We're all closed up, all buttoned up. It does take a couple of minutes longer to get everything closed up on this style of tent versus my wedge tent. It's not a huge deal. I would say grand total maybe an additional 90 seconds, 2 minutes worth of work. Trade-off for the different style of tent, for having a larger, roomier tent. But let's take a look at it, get a look at the footprint and all that now that it's closed up. Looking at it from the front, you can tell it is kind of tall. I haven't measured it yet, so I couldn't tell you exactly how tall it is. Comparing it to my other tent, which maybe I'll put that right here. Maybe I'll put that image there. It's got a taller footprint, but a narrower footprint on the roof rack. Oh my God, the mosquitoes are starting to get bad out here. It's getting later in the day. So, in closing, here's what you're probably wanting to know. Do I think the tent's worth it? Do I like the tent? Would I recommend it? Yes, I like the tent. Do I think it's worth it? Yes. The price point is, if I recall, it's presently listed for $14.99. Double check that, make sure I'm not wrong, and also check and see if it's on sale, because they frequently run sales. I know the 4th of July is coming up. I would imagine a sale will be coming along soon. Full disclosure, they did give me the tent. They didn't pay me for this video, but they gave me the tent. I have full creative control over what I say in the video. They don't get any right to final review, to have any edits done to it. I record the video, I post what I think about it. I think it's a good tent. I hate when people come on the screen after all those YouTube ads get done playing and they say, you need this. This is a game changer. It's just as good as, insert whatever mainstream name brand they're comparing it to. It's not a game changer. You don't need it. You want it, which is why you're watching the video and why you're thinking about buying one. And it's a good tent. It's worth the money. Is it just as good as some other name brand? I don't know. I don't have that tent. I hate people who compare it to other stuff by saying it's just as good as, because usually it's not when people try to convince you of that. Don't try to say something is good by comparing it to something more expensive. What I will tell you is, again, it's well made. It's worth the price point. I really like the tent, and I'm glad that I have a wedge style and a clamshell one so that I can compare the two and know the differences. I'm going to continue to use this tent. You'll continue to see it on there. You'll see it on my trail videos. I like it. It's comfortable. If you want to check it out before you buy it, if you're in the Virginia area, in the Mid-Atlantic area, and you want to meet up, I'll let you take a look at it. I'll open it up, let you climb up in it. I don't have a problem with that. Just drop me a comment or email me at will@defiantoffroad.us and we'll set it up. If you've enjoyed the video, if you've gotten something out of it, go ahead and like the video for me. Subscribe to the channel. That really helps us out. We're getting up there. I think we have like 50 57,000, 58,000 subscribers, something like that. I don't know, I haven't checked today. But keep it going. I would really like to hit 75,000. That would really make me happy. So it's up to you guys whether or not I'm able to do that. So if you've enjoyed it, again, please like it. Until next time, this has been Defying Off-Road.